Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to talk about the number of sets per exercise. I'm going to give you the most important thing to remember when it comes to programming sets per exercise. Before I get into this topic, if you would like a custom workout, please check out the link down below. Custom workouts are only $39. All right, so a lot of talk about sets per exercise. This is going to be a common point of discussion. You are going to hear when you digest YouTube commentary, when you digest influencer commentary on exercises or workouts, sets per exercise. I want to give you probably the most important thing you can remember when it comes to programming sets per exercise. Now, when you go on the YouTube, you go on there today and you're going to hear somebody probably talk about the number of sets per exercise. Now, one of the common things you hear when you go on social media or YouTube fitness is that you will hear all these black and white things about the number of sets per exercise. 1 set per exercise, 2 sets per exercise, 3 sets per exercise. What is the appropriate amount of volume? What you end up hearing is a lot of black and white junk, okay? Junk. Anytime you hear like black and white statements in lifting, in muscle building, in strength building, when it comes to sets per exercise, it is junk content. And let me explain. This isn't some knee-jerk reaction. Anytime you hear black or white answers, black and white solutions when it comes to lifting, usually what this information is missing is the fact that the demands of every exercise are different. Let's say I came on the YouTube, this box right here, and I said, you are only going to do minimal amount of work. You're going to do 1 set all the way to the end, all the way to failure or near failure per exercise. 1 set. So this is what I came on and I commanded you to do. And I said, this is the holy of holies, and this is the way to build maximum muscle mass. So this can sound good on paper because when we put things in these little tidy, neat little boxes, 1 set, right? 1 set per exercise, not 1 for some or 2 for another, right? Or when we do little tidy splits like upper lowers, logically everything kind of feels organized. It kind of decompresses us a little bit. It makes us feel like everything is nicely organized, nicely structured. We have 1 set per exercise. Everything is good. We're in a good place. But this is not how lifting works. Now, what I teach on the Massive Iron Channel isn't any specific volume. I will teach you a reasonable starting point, and from that starting point, you adjust volume based on needs, based on the demands of that exercise. So I'm not pushing any specific number of sets per exercise. What I am pushing is that you go into the gym with a reasonable starting point and understand that the demands of every exercise are different. So let me explain what that means because it is so very important. Let's say you headed into the gym and you were going to do a conventional 3 sets per exercise, and we were going to spend some time learning the demands of this exercise and learning how much volume worked for us. So you might find that you start with 3 sets of the bench press and 3 sets of the pec deck and whatever else you're doing for chest during the week. You will find quickly that 3 sets on the bench press is far more intense, takes far more energy, is far more punishing than 3 sets of the pec deck. This doesn't mean you can't necessarily do 3 sets on the bench per week. I've done it for years. I've done it for 40 years. It doesn't punish me. I recover fine, and I got pretty darn strong and pretty darn big using it. But in a relative sense, 3 sets of the bench press is going to feel harder. It's going to be more intense. It's going to take up more time than 3 sets of the pecky decky. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying low volume if you want to try low volume during a season to see what you can learn. But the thing I want you to really be careful about is falling into this, I must only do 1 set. Let's say you only want to do 1 set on the bench press and you want to ramp up kind of just to that max effort set, or basically train to failure. You certainly can, right? But this doesn't mean on things that are less intense, like the pecky decky, that you need to stick to 1 set. Things like cable crossovers, dumbbell flies, pec deck, things that feel less intense, maybe machine chest press. You don't need to stick to one set. And that is really the important message of this video. When it comes to programming, when we start talking about doing one set per exercise, we dumb down programming so much that it takes all the nuance out of things and just takes all the freedom for you to evolve things based on what is happening in the gym and the specific intensity of that lift. There's nothing specifically magical about a certain number of sets per exercise. What is magical is that we take this starting point and we learn the demands of each exercise and we evolve the volume based on our recovery demands, what we enjoy, imagine that, what we enjoy, and how it is treating the body. So the key take-home point, and really the big thing I want to stress in this video is when you see somebody saying 1 set per exercise or 2 sets per exercise or 3 sets per exercise, what they are generally missing is the fact that the demands of every exercise are different. Like somehow doing 1 set of bench is going to have the same degree of physical intensity or physical punishment as 1 set of pec deck. I don't have any issue with anybody messing with lower volume, but just don't put yourself in a box where if you do 1 set of bench press and you realize, hey, I'm going to do the pec deck afterwards, and you know what? It's not that physically demanding, so I want to get in a little bit more volume and maybe train 2 or 3 sets right to the limit, pushing things for maximum safe quality reps or using the rep goal system. Allow yourself the freedom to use common sense. Avoid black and white discussions. Always realize that the demands of every exercise are different, and you don't have to have everything nice and tidy. 1 set for this, 1 set for that, 1 set for this. You should use common sense and adjust things based on your preferences, your passions, and what is happening in the gym. I've been training for 40 years, and I can tell you without hesitation that on many, many exercises, if I only did 1 set, even if it was to the limit, it would not feel like enough. And on most of these exercises, it's simply not physically punishing, and there is room to do a little bit more volume. So when you are in the gym and you are looking at adjusting your volume, even if you are trending towards or tending towards lower volume work, allow yourself the freedom to break free from all this black and white influencer nonsense and build the volume that makes sense for you on a specific exercise. Before you go, I want you to check out this video on lower volume. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.